Hey friends, it's Jennifer Terri. I make Philippine travel updates. In this video, as promised, I will help you in preparing for your flight to the Philippines. I made this video in Filipino. So for any Filipino watching here, gumawa na po ako ng video na ito exactly the same po pero Tagalog po siya. This is the video. Now this video is a guide for Balikbayans and foreigners traveling to the Philippines. Without further ado, let's get started. So what are the steps that you need to prepare for your smooth flight? Okay, it's traveling to the Philippines, not like before. You need to do some steps, and these are important because if you don't have any of the requirements, you may not be allowed to board the plane. So listen up. Let's start with the first step. Know the entry restrictions and immigration requirements. Entry restrictions, because the Philippines is not open yet. We're not even allowing foreign tourists yet. And this is why, as foreign nationals or foreign citizens, or you need to comply with our immigration requirements and rules. Okay, simple. The Philippines has color coding. The color coding of your country will decide what is your quarantine protocol and entry restrictions. So the only thing that you need to remember is that red country. If your country is under the red list, then if you are a former Filipino, a foreign spouse, foreign children, or you're a foreigner with visa, you cannot enter the Philippines. If you're coming from a red country or you have a travel history for the last 14 days before arriving in the Philippines, you cannot enter the Philippines. Balikbayan program is suspended for travelers coming from red countries and foreigners. Whatever visa you have, you cannot enter if you're from a red country. However, if it's yellow or green, you may enter. So for now, Jennifer, what is a red country? Romania. There's only one red country, and that's Romania. Red country, Romania is on red until October 30. Now remember that the list of red countries are being updated every 2 weeks, so stay updated with the immigration rules. Follow the Facebook page of the Bureau of Immigration. They always announce, they're very up to date with the announcement of the red list. Or you can follow my channel. Haha. Do you need visa to enter the Philippines? Very simple. It's visa-free for Filipino citizens, dual Filipino citizens, and those covered by the Balikbayan program. Who are covered by the Balikbayan program? Former Filipinos, so Filipinos who have been naturalized as foreign citizens abroad, foreign spouse of Filipinos, and foreign children of Filipinos, or former Filipinos that are traveling with them. If you're traveling alone, you're a foreign spouse, you need a visa. So all foreign nationals except those covered by the Balikbayan program needs a visa to enter the Philippines. The 30 days visa-free stay or entry here is still suspended. Foreign tourists are still not allowed to enter as of this October. Now for dual Filipino citizens, if you have your Philippine passport, excellent, you can use that. If you don't have a Philippine passport, you can use your retention or reacquisition certificate or identification certificate along with your foreign passport. Yan guys. While for former Filipino citizens, okay, nag-abroad ka na nakatira, hindi na Filipino passport, naging naturalized US citizen ka na or Canada, you're a former Filipino. Okay, you must have your foreign passport with either a Filipino old passport, an old one, expired, it doesn't matter as long as it's a Filipino passport. Or a Philippine birth certificate, NSO or PSA po, dapat. So that's the option. If you ask me, Jennifer, I don't have an old Filipino passport, I don't have Philippine birth certificate, but my passport says I was born in the Philippines. That's not enough. There was a Balikbayan who was not allowed to board her flight because she didn't have any passport, old Philippine passport or birth certificate. Now, you don't want that to happen to you. So please comply na lang, ha? You can actually order Philippine birth certificate online po through PSA. Next up is for foreign spouse or children of Filipinos traveling together with their Filipina wife or husband or Filipino parent. You just need your marriage certificate if you're the spouse or a birth certificate if you're the child, and you don't need a visa to enter the Philippines. Okay? Next up, This one I want to emphasize because some people are confused. Foreign parents are not covered by the Balikbayan program. They need a visa. Even if I'm an American, I have a Filipino child, we're traveling together, you still need a visa. Please get a visa. Foreign parents are not covered by the visa-free privilege, the Balikbayan program. Okay, you need a visa. Please get a visa. While for foreign spouse, children of parents of Filipinos not traveling with their Filipino family, you need a visa, whatever visa, or if you don't have an existing visa, apply for a 9A visa at the Philippine Embassy. And then same thing, marriage certificate or birth certificate. Before I proceed, please subscribe to my channel to stay updated with the Philippine travel rules. That's what I do. This is your all-in-one info guide on Philippine travel. Please subscribe. Okay, the next step that you need to do now that you know that you're allowed and you have the immigration requirements, buy your tickets and prepare for the flight requirements. Now, one tip that I have is buy direct with airlines. And another tip is that please avoid flights with so many layovers with different airlines. Now, if you're buying tickets, these are the 3 main airports, Manila and Cebu and Clark, while Davao, Lawag, and Subic are being used as backup airports. Now, is a negative test result required by the airport? It's not required by Manila, not required by Clark, Cebu, Subic. But Lawag, if it's a direct flight to Lawag po, yes, required po siya. If it's in Davao, yes, required po siya. Now, is it required by your airline or layover airport to have a negative test result? So it depends, guys. Just to give you an example, if you're transiting in Japan, it's not required. If you're transiting in Singapore, it's required. So please coordinate with your airline if you have layovers in other country. Now, if you're flying with Philippine Airlines at direct flight po siya, hindi kailangan. If it's a direct flight with Philippine Airlines, you're landing in Manila, Cebu, or Clark, hindi po siya kailangan. Our third step is hotel booking and quarantine requirements. You need money. The hotel expenses is at your own expense. It's not covered by the government. Swab test is not free, so you need to pay for it. You need to bring money. You need to have a budget. Now, before I go into the quarantine requirements, know the country. What is the color of your country? So these are the list of green countries until October 30. So not a lot of Filipinos, not a lot of foreigners from these countries. So for example, China mainland is a green country. Hong Kong, Taiwan, New Zealand, Poland. Ano pa ba, guys? Syria, Taiwan, Yemen, Niger, these are green countries, meaning you don't have to quarantine in a hotel. You just present an RT-PCR 72 hours before departure. And no quarantine, you don't need to book a hotel because you don't have to quarantine if you're fully vaccinated and coming from these green countries. You need to spend 14 days in these countries. Okay? You can't just say, I'm from Australia, I'll go to New Zealand, I'll stay there for 1 day and then travel to the Philippines. You just stay there for 1 day. You need to stay there for 14 days. And even if you're a foreigner coming from green lanes, you still need a visa. Okay? Foreign tourists are still not allowed. So if your country, is not on this list, then it's automatically a yellow country. So for yellow country, if you're fully vaccinated, 5 nights hotel booking. If you're unvaccinated or partially or unverified, it's 7 nights booking. In an accredited hotel. Okay, again, if you're fully vaccinated, 5 nights. If you're unvaccinated, it's 7 nights. If you're traveling with children who are unvaccinated, 7 nights. So these are the proof of vaccinations. If you're vaccinated in the Philippines, VaxCert PH or BOQ ICV. If you're vaccinated abroad, the National State Digital Certificate or an ICV issued by the WHO. There is really a lot of confusion about the proof of vaccination as being accepted for foreigners. I've noticed really that some travelers accepted, some travelers not. But if you're a Filipino, a Balikbayan, don't worry. Your white CDC card will be accepted. Your vaccination certificate from abroad will be accepted. The issue is only for foreigners. Yeah. So for foreigners, I highly recommend getting an ICV. This one, a yellow card. So you need to book in advance. You cannot just book upon arrival. It's very important that you need to book in advance. You will not be allowed to board the airplane if you don't have a hotel booking. So you need to book with an accredited hotel for quarantine. So there's a list for every airport. Okay, I'll have this list in the description box. So for example, let me show you. So for Manila, let's open the list. Let's check. Okay, this one is not updated. Let's check Cebu. Okay, let's go. Yeah, in Cebu, this is the list of accredited hotels in Cebu. Yan guys. It states the hotel, the address, the contact person, and how much it costs. Port of entry, you need to quarantine in the first port of entry. So for example, if your flight is US to Manila, Manila to Cebu, where do you quarantine? In Manila. In Manila. For example, your flight is UK to Clark, Clark to Davao. You need to quarantine in where? In Clark. First port of entry. Now, 24 hours before departure, before your flight, you need to register for One Health Pass. onehealthpass.com.ph. I have a instructional video on how to register. Just check my channel. So when you register, you get a QR code. And this QR code will be asked before check-in. It will be asked upon arrival. This is very, very important. And this One Health Pass registration already includes your registration for the COVID test. So because you will be tested on the 5th day or 7th day upon arrival in the Philippines. So you need One Health Pass. Non-negotiable. Children need it as well. Vaccinated or not, you need it. So you register 24 hours before the flight. Now, if you're landing in Cebu, you don't need to register for One Health Pass. You need to register for Mactan Cebu International Airport barcode. Next up is COVID test. So COVID test po will cost you 3,000 pesos per person. You could pay online or pay at the hotel. So in summary, you need to comply with the immigration requirements. Then you need to book for hotel, accredited hotel for quarantine. Then bring your proof of vaccination. Then 24 hours before the flight, One Health Pass registration, you need to secure your QR code. Another thing is Trace app. So Trace app before is not really used, but some airlines are still asking for it. For example, Singapore Airlines. So just make sure to download it on your phone. Now, the day of your trip, don't forget to bring ballpen, face shield, entertainment, because quarantine is boring. At least now it's shortened. Before it was 10 days. At least now, if you're fully vaccinated, it's only 6 days. Bring also snacks. Okay. And then face shield. Face shield is not used abroad, but it's used in the Philippines. So just comply with it. Philippine Airlines will hand it out to you for free, but some airlines will not, so please bring your own. Anyways, if you are needing taxi po for your transfer from the hotel to the quarantine, if you're transfer from the hotel or the airport to the hotel, I highly recommend these 3 taxi drivers. They're honest. They will help you even if you want to you can ask them to buy groceries for you. They're very good, they're reliable, they're honest. That's Kuya Johnny Anim. You can message him on Facebook. There's Kuya Renier Kayabyab, and there's also Glenn Manglikmot. These are reliable taxi drivers. Contact them on Facebook. So that is all for this guide for your trip to the Philippines. I promise you, I've told you everything you need to prepare. Really. If you follow my advice, you will have a smooth travel. No unnecessary surprises. So stay safe, guys, and God bless you. Don't forget to share this to anyone who wants to travel to the Philippines, especially for the upcoming holiday season. Stay safe, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.